It is all about the memo this morning. Well, President Trump released that highly controversial 4-page document compiled by House Intelligence Committee Chairman Devin Nunes that alleges bias at the FBI. Well, there's new questions this morning about Nunes and whether there has been any coordination with the White House on this. You'll recall that he was on the Trump transition team, and he has been criticized for previous interactions with the White House. I'm joined now by Democratic Congressman Mike Quigley of Illinois. He sits on the House Intelligence Committee. Sir, thanks for joining us.
Glad to be here. Good morning.
Good morning. So you raised a question on Monday. What exactly did you ask Chairman Nunes about whether he worked with the White House on this memo, and how exactly did he respond to you?
Yeah, I was beginning to think, as discussion began, about the chairman's early midnight ride to the White House, where he obtained information about alleged malfeasance by the Obama administration and returned it to the White House. This came off as a charade. So, hey, why not ask him the same questions about this memo? So I asked the chairman, did he work with, and I asked all the preliminaries, coordinate, discuss, and he said, not to my knowledge. And I asked him, did your staff? And then he became quite agitated and said, I'm not answering that.
So he said, not to my knowledge, and then when you brought in the question to his staff, he said, I'm not answering that.
I'll be candid with you. I think I took him off guard. With all due respect, if that's possible at this point in time, I think he was rattled. I'm not sure he was answering the first questions candidly, and then I think it was brought home when I specifically mentioned staff. So I fully believe that Chairman Nunes has not changed his tactics. He began this investigation as a subsidiary of the White House, as someone who is coordinating with them rather than being an independent investigator. And the sad part is he is the chairman of the committee that's investigating the most important attack on our country's democracy in our lifetime.
So, Congressman, to be clear, you are saying you do believe that Chairman Nunes worked with the White House, coordinated with the White House to prepare this memo.
Here's why I say that. That's how the investigation began. And I don't believe there's ever been a time when Chairman Nunes didn't believe his responsibilities in this investigation didn't rest with whatever the White House wanted him to do.
So do you think he did it, or do you think there's a possibility he did it, or do you think it's a question worth asking? I mean, where are you on this?
Look, I have a belief that he was coordinating with the White House all along, including on this memo. The fact that he reacted the manner in which he did, and I suppose you had to be there to see his mannerisms and expressions, leads me to believe that he, again, wasn't being candid. And the fact that he refused to answer another member of the committee's question about who was involved in working on this memo, that he wouldn't answer that question when it came to the staff, look, there's reasonable belief that he was involved all the time.
Are you going to follow up with him on this?
Well, my hope is that the American public and the press will follow up with him on this and press the issue. It's certainly my intention to do so. We frankly don't have a lot of business meetings to have these opportunities. But we will next week when we formally ask the committee to release the minority memo, which point by point will rebut the fiction of the majority memo I expect the White House to release shortly.
What do you think his goal is here with this memo?
I think the memo is part of a pattern to things have gotten very scary for them. Let's understand the context of this. What is the White House concerned? There have now been 4 indictments, and the Mueller investigation steams forward. At least 2 of those involved are cooperating, specifically General Flynn. That has to be very scary for the White House. So I think they're taking orders to try to do the only thing they have left, discredit the very institutions that are investigating them. And I believe that they will trample on those institutions that keep us safe, with little regard for the trust that has been established in the relationship. Again, that helps keep us safe. So I'll finish that thought by saying this. This, in the final analysis, rests on the Speaker of the House. this is his responsibility ultimately. He can take Chairman Nunes to task and tell him he has to cooperate. He has to start working to help us find out what happened.
Congressman, CNN is reporting that the Democratic memo, the rebuttal here, argues that proper procedures were actually followed when obtaining the FISA warrant to look at Carter Page. In your reading of the memo, its underlying intelligence, or any of your other work on the Intel Committee, and your reading, I would say, of the Republican memo here, have you seen, and I know you can't speak about specifics, but have you seen evidence of any abuse of surveillance by the FBI?
In this case, I have not. I think it's important for us to recognize no investigation is perfect, and we have to accept it, warts and all. But I would tell you, I actually think that they did a spectacular job on this under very trying circumstances.
I want to ask you a question about the FBI and the ongoing government review of something separate here, of its investigation of Hillary Clinton's emails. The Washington Post is reporting that after Clinton-related emails were found on the laptop of former Congressman Anthony Weiner, who is the husband of a top Clinton aide, then Deputy FBI Director Andrew McCabe, quote, appeared not to act for about 3 weeks when investigators requested to examine those emails. The Inspector General is looking into this. Should your committee be looking into it?
I think we let the Inspector General do their job, and then I think we should investigate anything that merits our looking at. I think the concern I would have is the fact that there's a lot of rogue, partisan, stealth investigations that the Republicans are beginning, and I think the attempt there is to deflect and distract. I have absolutely no problem investigating what should be investigated on either side. I'm just concerned that their efforts and their timing will be more in line with a deflection and a distraction rather than to find out the truth about anything else. And oh, by the way, my other question that relates to your point to the chairman was about having the Justice Department and FBI review the minority memo before it's released. And he said, blurted out, I'm not going to let them do this. We're investigating them, which was news to absolutely everyone on the committee.
Very interesting. Congressman Mike Quigley, thank you.